Hi friends, I have books in a bucket because we're talking about bucket list books today. I just watched Shawn the Book Maniac post an original tag video, and his video is, well, his tag is entitled The Mookse and the Gripes, and it's about bucket list books. So the tag is all about talking about 10 books that you want to read, as he puts it, before you shuffle off this mortal coil. And I really don't plan to shuffle off the mortal coil, but that's another story for a different time. But the idea of this tag on this list really appeals to me, and I want to do several iterations of it. I've just been thinking about how many different ways you can interpret bucket list books. So I'm here today to do a response video, a response to the tag, but also to announce that I'm going to be doing several of these videos because I have lots of different ways that I want to interpret this and several lists that I want to make and share with you. So like I said, if you've been watching my channel for some time, especially at the beginning of years, I talk about lists that I make, book lists that I make, books that interest me, lists that I just want to get through. And so I'm thinking for this video today, I'm going to be talking about 10 novels, and a lot of these books are by old white men, because those are some of the books that have been on the canon. Books by white male authors have dominated the canon for probably forever, at least the canon in the United States, the Western canon that we call it. And so some of them are books that I've been hearing about my whole life and want to read, just haven't gotten to yet. And so they're the books that I want to read, still want to read. But I also think about other ways that I want to broaden my reading experience. And so I've been thinking about reading a book from every country, especially from the Caribbean, a book from every place, every country in South America, a book from every country in Africa. I want to read a book from every country. So that's a list that I could probably talk about and use this tag to represent that. But I've also thought about other lists, like I want to read all the books that have won the Booker Prize. That's another list that I could talk about, but I guess that's not this. But just in general, there are authors that I want to read their entire oeuvre. Is that how you pronounce that word? I want to read all the books that they have written and published. And so this year I've been trying to work through a couple of those authors. I'm right now actively working on Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison, Barbara Pym, Muriel Spark, Maryse Condé. So those are 5 authors that I want to read all the books that they have published, and that's something that I could also talk about in this tag. 10 books that you want to read, 10 novels, 10 memoirs, 10 poetry collections, 10 short story collections, 10 books about a specific theme. I mean, there's so many ways to interpret this. So for today, I'm going to talk about 10 books, 10 novels that I want to read. And just because occasionally I go for numbers, I want to read a specific number of books, or at least I want to read at least a specific number of books for the year. So I probably gravitate towards reading shorter books. So some of the big books that I've been wanting to read forever, books that I own and just haven't gotten to, most of them are bigger books. And so you will see here the books that I'm showing you here, most of them are big books. And just in general, this list, I guess, is populated by big books mostly. And yeah, there's that reason. But I want to get to them. I want to get to them sooner rather than later. I want to get to them eventually. So I've just been talking. Here are some of the books that are in my bucket. Some of the books that are on my bucket list. Some of these, I guess, of course, you could see, obviously, I own these. And for one reason or another, haven't read them, or at least started and just haven't completed. So let me tell you the 10 books. So I have a list. Where's my list? I have a list. It's here. It's behind me. But yeah, I don't need the list. So first on my list is Leo Tolstoy's Anna Karenina. I have owned this. I have started to read it. I've tried to read it. I've quoted from it. I've just never read it. Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I could also add War and Peace here because I'd like to read Tolstoy's War and Peace as well. But I think since we're only restricting this to 10 books, I think it's only fair that you only put one book from each author. So Anna Karenina is on my list. East of Eden by John Steinbeck. As you can see, I own a copy. There was so Shawn the Book Maniac has this on his list as well. I don't know, Shawn, buddy read. This, I think, is a perfect book to do a buddy read, a slow buddy read with Shawn. Shawn, let me know if you're interested. There was I think there was a read along or something a year or so ago that I thought about joining, but I certainly didn't. So yeah, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This is another author that I'd like to read all of his works, but for now we're just gonna manage our expectations and say, since we haven't read anything by Steinbeck in probably decades, let's read that and then move on to other targets. The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. Didi from Brown Girl Reading had a read along of this book a couple of years ago now, and I bought this beautiful penguin, it's penguin, right? This beautiful cloth bound classic, and said, man, if I had this, then I would read it. And it wasn't cheap. It was $30. It was $30, and I started reading it, and I just kind of fell apart with the group read. It was around the time I was having the baby, so there was a reason why I didn't finish. It was a big book, and then I started again on my own last year, and it's my husband. My husband, he's wearing shorts. So pardon my distraction. Yeah, no, you can't see that. It's for me only. So yeah, the second time I started again from the beginning because it had been a year, and so I didn't even get back to where I had been before. So you could see I'm only probably about 1/5 of the way in. So you can see my bookmark here. So since it's been another year, I'm gonna have to start again. But this time, when I get to this book, I'm just gonna read it. I'm just not gonna stop until I finish. It's a great book. It is about 1,240 pages. So yeah, there's that. So those are 3 of the books that are on my list. Other books, Foucault's Pendulum by Umberto Eco. Jason from Byways in Brookland, that used to be his channel name. I'm not sure what his channel name is now because he had changed it. He said he was going to host a read along of the Umberto Eco's book, and so I was going to buy the book, but I was waiting for the date, and then kind of Jason disappeared, and then he reappeared with another channel, and I don't know if I'm still subscribed to him. I want to be, but I didn't always know his channel name. The reason I'm saying all of that is Jason loves this book and loves this author, and was going to explain some stuff during the read along, and so I was waiting to participate in that. That's why I haven't read. That's not why. It's a big book, so again, daunting. So Foucault's Pendulum is on my list. Moby Dick is a recommendation from my husband. He doesn't read a ton of novels, so when my husband reads a novel and recommends it, I want to read it. Herman Melville, Moby Dick. That's on my list, and we do have a copy. I just don't have it here. Then there's A Tale of Genji, which is like The Tale of Genji, Asian fiction, very foundational, very pioneering in literature, I suppose. But yeah, Karen hasn't read it, so Tale of Genji is on my list. Then there is Marcel Proust's In Search of Lost Time, which could probably have a list by itself, because Marcel Proust is a novel in 7 volumes. It is, and the collection together spans 4,215 pages in one translation. So I want to read it. It forms the foundation or the framework for one of my favorite all-time favorite novels, which is A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. That's a book that I read, loved, recommend to everyone, and it is based kind of loosely on, I guess, some of the story in Marcel Proust, In Search of Lost Time. So I need to read Proust, 4,215 pages. So someday I'll get to that. Then there is A Confederacy of Dances. That's a book that intrigues me for a lot of reasons, and I own a copy, and I've been trying to get Doris from Aldi Books to do a buddy read with me, but I feel like because it was on her Tower of Doom, and I feel like she has since unhauled that book, so I don't know if that's ever going to work. But A Confederacy of Dances is on my bucket list. It's on my list of books to read Sooner rather than later, guys. Sooner rather than later. That's number 8. Number 9 is a book that I'm probably going to be reading first from this list, and that is Passing by Nella Larson. I just got a copy of this. I just got this copy from Penguin Random House. Penguin Random House re-released this recently, and so they sent me this copy, and so I'm going to be reading it pretty soon because, you know, I get a book from a publisher. I kind of want to read it in some kind of a reasonable time frame so I can promote it if I like it, love it. So Passing is probably going to be the book that I read first from this list, also because it is the shortest book. It's only about 150 pages. So yeah, we're gonna put this on my TBR, and it is probably the book that makes this TBR not so daunting because I could cross something off pretty soon. So that's 9, and then yeah, number 10. I don't have, what's it called? I don't remember the name of the author. It's David something, I feel like. It is called House of Leaves. I've heard really great things about this book, and I want to read it. I saw a beautiful copy in Barnes & Noble. That's kind of why I was jolted, I think, to add this to my TBR. I've heard kind of strange reviews about it. Not that people don't like it. I think it's like one of those cult favorite books. I think people who read it love it, but the people who read it are the people who are drawn to it, drawn to experimental fiction, drawn to whatever it is that book is about. I really don't know the plot or anything. I just know I saw the book and I was intrigued, and I wanted to buy it, then I didn't. I have a gift card. I won a giveaway recently for a bookstore, the Strand bookstore. Maybe I should use it to buy that book. So that's a book that I want to read as well. As a bonus, I'm going to add one more book. I'm conflicted about whether or not this is actually on my TBR, which is why it's the bonus. It's Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. I should have brought it. I have a copy. I've heard kind of mixed things about it. People have said that it's one of those books that you should read, but it's also one of those books that you might not, that you might struggle to get through just because of the subject matter. I think it has something to do with drugs or addiction or something like that. Not quite my kind of book, but I mean, who's the target demographic for that book? So I've heard that I should read it, that you should read it, that one should read Infinite Jest. That's the other book that Doris from All the Books unhauled because I was trying to get her to see if we could read it together. But yeah, so Infinite Jest is my bonus book for this list. So yeah, those are 10 books that were on my list of books that I want to get to sooner rather than later, but eventually. And so this is a tag, so I should tag some people, and I will. I'm not going to be able to think right now about all the people that I'd like to tag. So let me just think of 3 people. I know Doris has already been tagged, and wow, Heidi has already been tagged. And so I'll tag Dee Dee from Brown Girl Reading. I'll tag Kay the Reader, and I'll tag I think Hannah was tagged in the original videos. Hannah from Hannah's books. Just in case Hannah hasn't been tagged, I'm tagging you as well, Hannah. So yeah, 3 people I'd like to tag. If I think about other names, and I'll put them in the description box down below. So yeah, at the end of this video, I just wanted to say I'm going to invite you to vote on which book I read second from this list. So like I said, the first book that I'm going to read is this one because it's short and I'd like to cross something off this list soon. So the first book that I'm going to read from this list is going to be Passing by Nella Larson, and then I'm going to invite you to vote in the comments down below. Let me know which book you think I should read next from this list. These are all books that I want to get to eventually, like I said, so it doesn't matter which one you vote for. I'd like to read that book before the end of this year, with a caveat. If you vote for Marcel Proust, then that's not realistic. I'm not going to be able to read the 7 volumes before the end of this year. So if you vote for that book or that collection, then we'll say I must read it by the end of 2022. But anything else, I'm going to try to read it before the end of this year. So That would mean that I get 2 things crossed off this list before the end of this year. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you think I should read. Maybe it's a recommendation because you've read it and you love it and you think that I should read it, or you just, you know, kind of want to torture me. That's fine too. But thank you so much for watching this video. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Let's chat in the comments. We'd love to hear from you if you've read these books, if they're on your list. I don't know if I wanted to say anything else in this video and forgot to say it because I did have to refilm this video. I filmed it before, wasn't looking at the what do you call it, the screen, the display, and so part of my head was cut off. And I felt like if you're watching this video, you kind of want to see more of my face than like this, so I refilmed it. So if I said something in that video that I didn't say this time, forgive me. I'll say it next time, hopefully. Thank you so much. Chat in the comments. Until next time, happy reading. Bye.